I want to finish.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
And I'm Carolyn, just having a conversation here.
Yeah, no big deal. She told me to press play, and then she kept on talking about something else that we'll discuss later in the episode.
Yes.
So on Instagram and Ravelry, you can find me as Tooliz for you, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry, and I post on our Knitting in Our Jeans Instagram, as does Elizabeth on occasion, so we're posting all the time, different places.
Yeah.
I have a separate Instagram account, and I don't look at it because we don't have it set up on my phone that way. If we set that up on my phone, then I can't do the Knitting in Our Jeans.
Because she does not flip back and forth between multiple accounts well. If you remember, probably 2 years ago now, when she created a third account for herself.
Yeah,
we went over it at the time.
Yes.
In other news, if you are in New York, I know New York, but if you are, let's look up the states that are voting this, this month. I just want to remind everyone to check their voter registration, check their absentee ballot status, and vote.
Yeah.
In New York, you have to register to, you have to apply to receive your absentee ballot by the 16th, which is on Tuesday. Tuesday. And then you have to mail them back by the 23rd, which is next Tuesday. So just keep that in mind. There are other states. I'm just trying to pull up. I know.
Meanwhile, while she's pulling it up, I got both my absentee ballots because we got one for local elections, and then in Nassau County we got one for the Democratic primary. I have mailed all of mine back. In fact, I got the presidential primary yesterday, and I mailed that back yesterday afternoon. So it should cross the Board of Elections desk in plenty of time. I probably would have voted early in person like I did last year in November because I just can't stand. I can't wait in a line. The knee hurts too much.
Yeah.
So, and if I had to, I would bring my cane that has a seat on it so I could sit on it and then move forward a little bit. And those of you who were at Rhinebeck last year, you would have seen me with that cane and a seat as I waited outside on Friday at the church where we were going to have our knit night. It's very handy. So anyway, I did apply for
the national election one.
I applied to absentee ballot for both of them. I got both of them and have mailed them back. So I have done my civic duty by voting.
Yes.
And I'm glad because then my knee was not called upon to do anything else.
So there are no elections this week, but next week on the 23rd, if anyone from Kentucky is here, please look up your regulations and vote. And then July 7th is Delaware and New Jersey. Definitely take a look. And then July 11th is Louisiana, and 12th is Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Those are primaries, primarily primaries, but I know for New York City, we have some city officials that this was because the special election in March was canceled due to the fact that we had COVID-19 in the ecosystem. So definitely vote, exercise that right. That is something that we all should be doing these days. But I just wanted to make that little 2-second announcement. Another announcement, Rhinebeck was officially canceled this week. We're sorry to hear it. However, I think it was the safest plan.
Makes the most sense. Anybody who's been there knows the crowds that are there. Around Jenny the Pig. Or
Jenny the Potter?
Potter, thank you. She makes a pig cup. That is adorable.
Too much.
Jenny the Potter makes a pig cup for Rhinebeck, and it is adorable. And I've never gotten there to get the cup,
No.
Oh, well, I will at some point.
Well, maybe they're talking about doing, like, digital stuff. And, I mean, so I know for Maryland, Miss Babs, who does a specialty colorway for every one of the shows she does, did have 2 specialty colorways this year for Maryland Sheep and Wool, and she had them online. So perhaps she'll do that this year for Rhinebeck.
Maybe.
They're still looking into how to convert it to an online event. So hopefully we'll hear more.
I don't think they're going to be having the classes online. It seemed to me from Karen that was not a possibility, although that may change.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that I've been trying to think about Big Apple
Knitters Guild?
Yes. Had gotten in touch with me and said, we'd like to see how this works on Zoom. So tomorrow, I need to write up what the homework would be and then ask them for what date they would like to do this, because hopefully they will have a Zoom, because it needs to be a large group.
Well, it needs to be a larger group, and it would be longer than 45 minutes.
Yes. So then we'll proceed from there. There would be homework for those classes, and so I need to write up the instructions for that homework, and we'll see what happens there. So I know the Big Apple Knitters Guild is trying to move forward using Zoom. We just watched 60 Minutes, and they were talking about colleges going back to school in the fall, and many are planning to go back early. They are planning to have hybrid classes, so some in class, in person, and some online. I know that Manhattan College has been saying that they don't want any professor to have to come on campus who is uncomfortable coming to campus. Quite frankly, that would likely have to have been me, since I'm over the age of 60. And in fact, Governor Cuomo, who is my governor here in New York, had done a talk on one of these weeks where they looked at the breakdown of the age cohorts and when the disease infection rate went up, and it was anybody over the age of 50.
Yep. So
I got that beat all hollow. So I likely would have been teaching online. The other thing they're talking about is having everybody in class wear masks, obviously placing the desks further apart, which is going to be
You're going to have more classes, but less people in the classes.
In one of my classrooms, we had desks for 2 people.
Yeah.
So those desks will have 1 person in each one of them.
Yep.
And everybody should wear masks. Now, the problem with this is that we've been told that there are people who lip read, and not to talk or teach to the class while writing on the blackboard or the chalkboard or the whiteboard. Don't talk with your back to the class. So if I've got a mask on, it's not only cutting down some of my clarity of speech, but it also means anybody who lip reads is not going to be able to read a thing. So I think that's going to be interesting. It may be that the professors will have a barrier. I know usually I have a podium, I have a table, and it would be really possible. Just put a line and say, nobody from the student side come any closer than this, and I won't go over that line, and we will be fine. And then if you have a question to ask, well, then I'll flip my mask on, and we can do it that way. I'm really quite concerned about my slightly deaf students who lip read and would then be at more of a loss with someone wearing a mask. So just something, it's just...
If you were also in academia, and this is something that is being brought up, you might also want to bring this up or make a note to have it brought up in some sort of meeting.
What do we do? Because we've already been asked to make accommodations for people who lip read, and now with a mask, that's going to be all shot.
I never realized how much I inadvertently lip read, apparently, especially in like stores.
I do it a lot.
I never realized it until we all started wearing masks, and I've had to ask people to repeat themselves.
Yeah.
Which is very
disconcerting.
Mm-hmm. So I can understand that, and that would also be my concern with a classroom setting.
So then the other thing we were talking about just before was the Christmas gifts.
Oh, okay.
So we have, as you know,
The knee sling.
The knee sling to knit for, and I got something in my email from Barret Wool Company this week. Yes.
And it's a kit.
Oliver the pig. And it was just incredibly cute. And so I ordered it. I didn't want to make the cardigan because she's 6 months old. At Christmas, she will be just a year. She's not going to be... If she has a cardigan for the pig, it will be off and lost. So there is a choice of making just the
sweater,
the pullover, which is what I plan to do. Anyway, I ordered that. We'll see how long it takes to come in. Big news, the embroidery hoops that I ordered have come in, and I'm very happy with them. Very, very happy, and I will show you what I've done with my embroidery. And then you said you had ordered something.
I didn't order something.
This is a test knit.
Yeah, so Max the Knitter, who is Maxim from Canada, he and his partner Dell have designed this bear hoodie for adults and kids. And
it looks adorable.
On Friday, they opened up a test knit. Mm-hmm. So it was a Google form that I did register for. So hopefully I'll hear back this week. Because yes, even if I don't get chosen to test knit it, that's going to happen this year for the little one. Because I just think she needs a little sweater with little bear ears, and
it's going to be so cute. Falling off my shoulder.
I
I think what I need...
You said you needed a collar on it anyway.
I need something. I need something to weigh it down on the inside. So if I do around the collar here, but I do more of it here, maybe that would help. We'll see. No, I haven't had time because I've got my own test knit going on.
I know.
And I want to get that done. So do you want to talk about what you've been doing?
So I actually haven't been doing all that much. Or, I mean,
yes,
I have. Okay.
You were showing off to me.
I feel like I haven't gotten all that much done because nothing is finished.
Well, you know, you're not going to finish a sweater in a week.
I know. I don't have the finished object, but we both made a new backpack this week.
Yes, we did.
For my best friend from high school for her birthday, and she's starting grad school in the fall. So that's for her. Yes, it is identical to my backpack. No, I don't care.
Well, not identical because it has canvas straps and Elizabeth has...
Well, it has the like webbing strapping material stripes.
Right,
yes, and I have the waxed material.
Right.
And we did interface the bottom of her bag, which I think is a good idea. And so, yeah, I think that was a good second round. And
yes. I might even think about one of the things I had done in some of the bags I had made was the interfacing was that 1/8 inch wide. So it actually made the bags stand up like bucket bags. And that's another possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but I know we have it.
Yeah, I just picked the thickest one we had up on the shelf for that.
It's somewhere.
Yeah. So
at one point we'll have to reorganize that.
Yeah. That's
once I get done with some of this knitting so that there's less on the floor here.
Yeah.
And yes, I am hand rolling a ball of flannel pajamas.
Because you have some sort of little animosity between you and the winding situation we have here.
I don't know why.
And you could ask me to wind them, but she hasn't recently. You really are enjoying the meditativeness of this. So we did finish that, and I gifted that this weekend, and it was received very well. But I also finished the front of my Vellichor. So
it is rather boxy.
It is. I think it'll look really good on, though.
Okay.
I think it'll look good on.
It'll look lovely. I love the colors.
I do, too. I think this is inside out. It is inside out.
It looks even better when it's right
side out. There we go. Ta-da!
Yeah.
So
much better.
Yeah, I think it'll look really good.
I think it'll look lovely.
And so I started the back. I have to do, I think, 31 stripes in order to have it end with a main color stripe, and then I do 10 rows of the ribbing pattern.
So this is from the separation at the arm.
Yes. So I have done 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, no, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I was like, I've done 3 days on the back, it should be 12. So I've done 12, so I've got another 18 to go. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. That should be done this week, maybe next week. I don't know. I did the math. I figured it out earlier. But it will be done by the end of June, which will be interesting because it won't have taken the full 100 days. So I think I will pull out a whip to work on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I'm thinking the artichoke French.
Well, certainly we talked about it for years.
I know, and our friend Marcia just finished hers.
Oh.
And it's so pretty. And I commented on her Instagram, and she goes, "Yo, we won't talk about how it was started in 2016." And I almost replied, "Yeah, we won't talk about how mine was started in 2015." And the fact that I only have, like, wrister length sleeves, but that's okay. So then I also have gotten to the ribbing of the sleeves on my test knit, which is now has been released. So it's called the Cranesbill sweater.
Okay.
Yeah, she released it early, allowing us to not have completed the full test. She really just wanted the yoke to be tested thoroughly.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really appreciated that she also had, like, kind of extended the deadline, but also had it be pretty flexible.
That's good.
Yeah, she was lovely to test for. So I have finished the sleeves. I did the color work. So I did them 2 at a time up till this last marker, and then I put them on separate needles. I did 5 rows of plain, and then I did the color work, and then I did another row of plain, and then I put them all on the same needle, and I went down a needle size as suggested for the cuffs. And then I will do the suggested 3 inches, and before I bind them off, I will try it on. Because...
Look at that. No, it has to be there because it's part of the...
Oh. Well, you can tell by the way it's dyed that it was there. Like, they just must not have seen it. That's okay. It'll knit up fine.
It's a bit disappointing.
It happens.
Yes.
But, yeah, so I think I'll be okay with the sleeve length, too, because once I tried it on when I hit the end of the decreases, and I was at about here.
Oh, you're good.
So the color work should take me to about here, and then I can fold it, I can have a long sleeve. So that'll be nice. And I still have a good amount of yarn left, so I'm not worried about the body of the sweater.
Good.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I haven't had much oomph to do the ribbing this week, or this weekend so far.
Well, you were busy.
I was.
So speaking of things that are upsetting, never mind the knot in my yarn. With those Addies, I had size 4s or something I was working on. And I pulled them out, for this. This sweater, the traveling sweater, and the tip had broken off. I mean, that much had broken off the size 4 needle. So at that point, I went and got one of my carbons, and I'm using the size 4 carbons.
Oh my goodness!
I haven't had any problems like that with the Likey needles, or certainly
not
with
your diet crafts, your darn pretties.
Yes, I broke a size 8 in those.
I think that was a fault in the wood.
I think that was a fault in the wood. I think it just
and I think
sweat.
So,
So within one set of Addies, I've had 2 needles develop problems. I'm just reporting.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're free, obviously, I'm not going to complain too much, but
just we're putting it out there.
Heads up about that.
Especially because they were the olive wood, right?
Yes.
So just we're just reporting on our findings.
Yes. Maybe I'll remember next week to bring it up and show you all. But it certainly was disappointing. Anyway, so I have been using them.
Or been trying to. The attachment is nice in that the needles don't come off unless they break. Right.
So they don't unscrew. So that's the click part. But the click part also catches the yarn. So what I did find it worked pretty well with this flannel pajamas because
it's a pretty
tightly
plied yarn.
So that worked really well. And in fact, I'll show you what I have done on that. I have tried to work both on it and
your test knit.
My test knit. So,
but here is the traveling sweater, right? That's what it's called?
Yes, this is the traveling sweater. So I am lacking only 2 sets of short rows. I have 7 done. I need a total of 9. And then I will have finished my second section. I need a total of 8. And then you do the center swatch, which is the arm, the yoke, and then this way.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I'm very happy with it. I will finish the second pattern tonight.
Yeah.
And then I will go back to working on my test knit. Are you ready for me to talk about that?
Well, I was going to say, I'm really excited for you to finish that so I can try on that versus your circle sweater.
Right.
So that I can determine which one I want to make. Because I think it's in Forbidden Forest from Nerd Girls. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful deep green.
Ooh.
I think that would be lovely.
It'd be very pretty. Bounce and Stomp? Or?
No, it's on Heart You.
Feels like.
It's the 100% merino superwash.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am just waiting my next ball for that because I've got maybe 3 yards left of the original ball of yarn that was wound. So I will continue working on that.
And then I also, this kind of ties in. Anyone who's doing Stash Dash, I set Mom up with a spreadsheet last week. And you had 1,000 yards at that point, or 1,000 meters at that point. So she has done a 1K so far since May 22nd.
Yes.
So within the last month.
I don't know if we added in the other 2 blanket squares, but
I think I did.
So with that, I do have another blanket square that I started. I was trying to do just a few rows a day, and that kind of went by the wayside because I got excited about
the pattern?
The pattern. Well, the test knit. What?
No, stop. It's on your wrist. I was going to smack it. I don't know where it went.
Down there.
Hold on. There's a beetle. Now he's dead.
I don't know where that came from.
No,
anyway,
me neither. It's
maybe
okay.
Through the air conditioner. Anyway,
Maybe.
I started with the pattern. Whoops, it's going to fall on the floor. The patterning, you double wrap some of the stitches and then they get pulled up, and so you'll be forming V's or lattice work up, and then there will be what Elizabeth calls a basket of flowers and I call a crown. So there it went.
Oh well.
So I'm down here someplace.
Oh, lovely.
But I have been working on my test knit.
I see. It's grown.
It has. The redo of the instructions worked very well, so that we now have the decreases doing the underarm here, and so they're converging together this way, and all the increases are in the center front and the center back.
Oh, nice.
Which is here and in the back, so it's
It's
mirrored.
going to be so pretty.
I have
2 sleeves.
a finished sleeve.
Oh, only 1 sleeve. Okay.
Only 1 sleeve. I didn't want to do them 2 at a time because it is a test knit, and I wasn't real. And it's a DK test knit, worsted test knit, whatever. And I'm not used to working with that yarn, so I felt it pulls out of shape more easily than my fingering.
It can, because there are less stitches per inch.
Exactly.
And they're bigger stitches, but I find that because that is a superwash, once you throw it in the washer and dryer, it all settles itself again.
Anyway, I finished 1 sleeve.
Good.
It is a tubular cast off. Now look at that.
Okay.
It's
not horrid.
I'd rather be able to do the very stretchy cast off.
You can find your end and you can redo it.
Yes, after it's done.
Yes.
This is a sewn cast off.
Yes.
And I think
Andrea Mpowry really likes it, and I did it on my shifty, and I loved it. I loved the look of it on the shifty.
I don't love it. I think it bells out, which I wouldn't have with my very stretchy cast off. Well, part of the problem is we're doing 2x2 ribbing, and then you come up here and you have to change it to 1x1 in order for the cast off to work. And that bells it out. So I think for the cuff, it should be, I should write that to her. I think for the cuff, it should change to 1x1 down here someplace.
Maybe an inch and a half down.
Where you do change to your smaller needle, and then you can, it might get rid of this bell. I think I'll write her tonight about that. And then there's another something in the instructions where she says repeat rows 7 and 8. Only 7 is the one where it says keep doing an additional purl. But you do 2 purls, and then you do 2 knits, and then you do 2 purls, and then you do 2 knits. So if someone is reading it literally, it's going to be wrong. So I have to write her about that.
But other than that,
I am now with the change in the instructions about the decreases and increases. I think it's going to be delightful to wear.
I also wouldn't say. I would say that I would probably try any of her other patterns too.
Oh yes, oh absolutely. This is a test knit, and one of the reasons you're test knitting is not only to see does the knit work, but how are the instructions. Yeah. So I have just found a couple glitches in the instructions, so I should write her so that she can fix them before it goes out on Ravelry. That's all.
But also because it's good to have other people read and understand, because perhaps I would have understood it differently than Mom would have understood it. So
absolutely.
That's why you test knit.
Absolutely.
And why I kind of enjoy test knitting. I'm not overly effusive with it. I mean, I remember last year I test knit the blanket for Lavagna Petroselli, and I realized when I finished it, and I sent her like the email saying, hey, I finished it, here's the project page, here's the finished object photos, it was a pattern that was really well written, and it really, I don't think needed much, help, but I still was really glad that I was able to test it. I really do like that blanket. I might have to knit another one. But yeah, so, I mean, sometimes it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, you thought about it all. Okay, sure, I'll pre-knit this, piece. But yeah, so
I have been doing my exercises, and I cut out just a few things. I eat a little less breakfast, and I know that breakfast is supposed to be the king meal of the day, but I get hungrier at night. So I think I had to bear in mind my own eating habits.
Yes.
And I have done more walking, and I've done my knee exercises. I have to tell you, both knees hurt. The good knee, a little less than the bad knee, but both of them hurt. And so we're taking a week, starting a couple days ago, to do the walk, because that is part of the exercises that they had me doing at physical therapy. And it gets me Pokemon points. And then coming in and doing leg lifts and stuff like that. The good knee, it has been responding much better to that. The bad knee is just the bad knee. So we're starting to think about, well, we'll see how this week goes. And then we're starting to think about maybe surgery in September.
Okay.
So keep you posted. See, this is just, it's very warm, which is nice, because we run this house with 3 air conditioners, 3 window air conditioners. And so in some places in the house there is a draft, but if you turn them down, then other parts of the house would be
unbearable.
Yes. Sweating. So we have a small problem here. I've got it. So anyway, I've been wearing this today. I wore it to church.
Yes.
Which is online. And we have been singing online. That actually went better this week. So my exercises, I've lost 2 pounds, which is good. I have found that my breathiness in the singing is decreasing. So I'm getting more of my breath control back and better lung capacity. So that's excellent.
Good.
So those are 2 things I was looking for as gauges as to how I'm doing. The knee getting better would have been nice, but that doesn't seem to be.
I'd give yourself a week or 2 to determine how the exercises are going.
Yes.
Because I know when I restart a program or I start a new program, it takes me about a week to start feeling even just a little bit.
Well, the good knee immediately started.
Well, yeah, but that's the good knee. That's not the one we want to judge everything by.
I guess not. So that I did start, and I have seen some results. And the other thing, I really want to get working on my counted cross stitch among all the rest of this stuff. Oh, I didn't tell you, but our elastic came in.
Oh, good.
And the fabric came in.
Oh, good.
It's in the chair by the dining room.
Oh, is this you telling me you would like to do this next weekend? We would like to.
No, I'm just telling you that it came in.
That's good.
So I had finished down here last week. I have since added into the second set of squares up here. You can see there's a navy blue, and that's all the navy blue that's in this general area. There's more navy blue over here. I have been adding yarns and parking them. I do find what I'm going to do now that I've gotten one of these yarns up here to the third row. I want to find my black, because apparently I ran out of the black down here someplace. And it's one of these empty squares. So I think I want to do the black squares all through, because that will serve as reference points. You may not, can you see? Yes, I started using a light pencil and numbering the columns in the cells in order to keep me straight in terms of matching this with the directions. But I am loving it. I've had the fish come in, which I think I showed you all. I have had everything come in. There's still as a counted cross stitch kit at Manhattan College, as well as a knitting book. But we'll get it at some point.
At some point, we'll go up there.
I will email the secretaries. Maybe they can send it to me. That would be nice. Because it would be in my mailbox or a mailbox.
If not, you and I, or they can put it down at the security guard, and we'll drive up. You and I can drive up, and they can open the back door and put it in the back door.
Yeah.
In the back of the car.
Absolutely. So anyway, I talked to my mom. Mom's doing okay. Really quick phone call today, so I don't know what she had going on, since she tells me that she's very busy, but can't tell me what she does. Anyway. Anything else? No, I've done my exercises. Have been doing my walks. I'm out at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. There was one morning I was out at 5. I do it when I get up.
That's good.
So I make a cup of coffee, put my creamer in it, which isn't really creamer. Right now I've got a pea-based milk alternative.
Okay, then.
Which I'm finding better for my stomach than the soy-based stuff.
Well, that's good.
Yes, it's Oywn, Oywwn, that I got from Amazon, and they seem to be out of that now.
Okay.
Oh dear.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
No, there's just a cut in one of the plies. So you'll...
Yeah.
Do you want me to do a magic knot?
So then there was another brand that I can't remember at the moment that also is pea-based, and I ordered a dozen of those. So when the Oywn runs out, I will be testing this other one. And I think it'll be just a little bit better, only because the containers are better. They have twist tops instead of the poke a hole in it with the plastic straw top, because Richard tends to dump over the Oywn stuff, and we've had chocolate pea milk all over the refrigerator.
I am not shocked in the least.
I managed to get my CVS account somewhat set up to have the free delivery that is promised whenever they send me the notifications that your drugs are in. These are prescriptions. And I went online and I set it up with a credit card, And then the next day said I should be able to get these prescriptions delivered, and it wouldn't work. So then it said call the store. So I called the pharmacy, and the woman says, so did you try the app? I said, yes. Did you try the online? Yes, I've done all of that. So I said, so my next step was to call you all. So that's where I am. And she said, all right, so, and I had done everything last night. It showed that the credit card had pasted to whatever their repository was, and she says, it's not there. I said, okay, well, for me to do it again online doesn't make any sense because
obviously it's not going through.
It's not going through. So she did it and said, okay, we will send it out to you. It goes via the mail. I said, great. Thinking it would be here sometime this coming week. It came in less than 24 hours.
Yeah. I
was shocked. Pleased as punch, but shocked.
Good.
So if any of you haven't tried it, you might want to try it. This way I don't have to go into the pharmacy. The only thing I now have to go to the pharmacy for, and I can now do it at the window, is get my allergy pills.
Oh,
They're no
good.
longer requiring us to go inside the store. They apparently have
because you have a drive up here.
We have a drive up, and they have modified or made the programming changes to the register at the drive up window, so I can give her my driver's license, and she can certify that I am not buying an over amount, so I'm not making meth in the kitchen. Can you imagine me making meth in the kitchen? This place would blow up faster than you could blink.
I love you. You are a very, very intelligent woman, but your organizational skills leave a bit to be desired if you were thinking about doing such acts.
Yes. Well, anyway, my cooking is fine. We had veal tonight.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You're a very capable woman. It's just the...
Oh, speaking of
you
cooking,
would accidentally trip or knee the stove, and something would go wrong.
Speaking of cooking, we were watching Nadiya's. It's Nadiya Hussein who won one
of the seasons of Great British Bake Off.
Right.
One of the better seasons.
She now has her own show on Netflix. I'm looking it up. We looked up Nadiya and it came up. So we looked up Nadiya. The choice of Nadiya Hussein came up. And she is talking about quick ways to do really good cooking. So whereas the Great British Bake Off is going through every ever-living historical step, she is showing you shortcuts. And apparently in Great Britain, you can buy canned whole potatoes. I honestly haven't seen those here in the store, but then I hadn't looked for it before. But she had a delicious recipe that started off with using...
It's called Nadiya's Time to Eat.
And it is fantastic. And she's really taking into account time-pressured schedules. And as different locations open up, then maybe time-pressured, it will, again, be a part of your life. And, plus, it's nice to get a little change of pace. I, for one, am going to look and see if I have any turmeric in my collection of spices. And if not, then I'll order it, because I know your father won't be able to find it.
I can see if I can get it at the grocery store this week when I go.
There was something I wanted to maybe send you to Whole Foods for, and I can't remember what it is.
Well,
I'll make a list.
Yeah. I'm not leaving yet.
There was something that we'd have to get at Whole Foods.
Okay.
Oh, the mind is a terrible thing to lose.
We're working on it here.
Yes.
But yeah.
Anything else?
So that's just what we've been going on. Round and doing.
I mean, the other part, my knee may be reacting to the fact that at first I had a little COVID extra avoir du poids. And so by losing some of that, the knee may straighten up and do a little bit better. So I'm going to continue with my slightly abbreviated, believe me, it's very slightly abbreviated eating. For one, I've changed from having a snack in the evening, except I did give in last night and had some of the cheese. But instead of having an afternoon snack of carrots, so 10 little baby carrots holds me through till dinner, usually quite well, so that's very nice, instead of having crackers in the afternoon, so that's a plus. My breakfast I have as coffee with my chocolate pea creamer. You know, I know it sounds awful, but you know, when I couldn't have dairy anymore, I was looking for alternatives, and I had gone with, what had we gone with?
Soy?
We had gone with soy.
Rice.
And then we went to Rice Dream, and I haven't been able to buy the Rice Dream. That's been out. So then I went to Oywn and the pea base, and luckily I found another one. So, you know, you do what you can.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, I have that, and then if I'm still hungry, then I'll have some fruit, because last year I overbought canned peaches.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a hilarious, like...
They were telling me there were 12 left, so I thought it was 12 individual cans, so I ordered 12. There was 12 dozen that arrived. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I was going to say, yes, we know that there are nut-based dairy milk alternatives. However, we are allergic to nuts.
Yes.
So those are not options for us.
Coconut didn't work
And coconut
well either.
We are also allergic to. Even though coconut is technically not a nut, it is a seed or legume. But we are still allergic to it. Oh.
Totally separate.
Totally separate.
So I'll save this for any sewing or something that might have to be done. Weird.
Well, but you've also had it for a little while. Sometimes it can happen where it just like wears out in a spot. I don't know why.
I don't know.
But yeah, so that's just a heads up. But you were saying that.
Else?
Well, you were saying just if we're on the topic of food, that you were really enjoying the avocado ice cream I turned you on to.
Oh my goodness!
It's called Cado, and it's very good. I personally enjoy the dark chocolate and the mint chocolate chip.
You like the mint chocolate chip.
I like it
as fond.
I like it like I do a big scoop of dark chocolate and a little scoop of the chocolate chip, the mint chocolate chip.
Your father loves it.
Well,
loves it.
Good.
Yes.
Then we have a ice cream alternative for the family.
It is delicious. I found it terrific.
I do say there is a little bit of an aftertaste, but I find the fact that it's the dark chocolate, there's that bitterness of the dark chocolate that kind of cuts I guess it's kind of the fattiness of the avocado base.
Oh, keep going.
But that is a safe alternative for us. There is no coconut, there is no dairy, and there is no nut, any other nut-based in it. And it's chocolate. The
other thing I ordered and got in were sheets from Overstock.
Oh, yes.
So Elizabeth had mentioned, I have a desperate need for sets of sheets around here. The sets of sheets that we've got are decades old, and some part of it is usually worn out. So there's one set of sheets that we have that the bottom sheet is from one thing and the top sheet's from another, and the pillows are for hunger. So we're going to have to at some point break down and get new linens. Anyway, the double bed that she's been sleeping in, the sheets I found awful.
They were pretty bad.
They were pretty bad, and they kept coming off the
they weren't meant
mattress because they were the shorter sheets.
Yeah.
So I said, I can't take this.
And we had bought a deeper mattress because we bought one of the hybrid mattresses. We bought a mint mattress, if you remember from a little while ago. Well, they call it like the hybrid one. It's but it's a mint mattress. It's very comfortable.
It is. It is.
I have found I have a hard time sleeping on my side.
At home?
At home sometimes, and I could not sleep on that old mattress on my side.
All right, well,
this one I can, and it's so great.
So I decided to buy new sheets.
Yes.
They arrived in 24 hours.
That's great.
Anyway, I bought 100% linen sheets. The brand name is Echelon. And in fact, this is the... Here, I guess... Can you see that better? Echelon. Yes, Echelon. I looked up ratings of linen sheets. Echelon was on the list, I think, from Good Housekeeping. Wasn't top of the list, but it was one of the ones that they named.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So then you can pay a lot for linen sheets.
Yes.
And I decided, all right, I looked on Amazon, and the cheapest one I could find there that was linen and not a blend of linen and bamboo or something else was about $200. So I said, okay, racking my brain, let's try Overstock. Well, Overstock was having a sale.
Oh.
And so I managed to pay $100 for top sheet, bottom sheet, and 2 pillowcases, 100% linen. It was in a light gray, which was fine because I didn't want white. And then it came in, I washed them, dried them, and put them on the bed. And
they're lovely. They are absolutely lovely. They're soft, but they feel like slightly rustic, but very much like, oh, these are gonna get softer as we like use them
almost
and
like
wash
a denim,
them.
I think.
Yeah, like it's not scratchy, but it's like kind of comforting. It's a very strange thing to try to describe. I really enjoyed sleeping on them. I can't really speak for the heating or cooling power of them because that room that I sleep in is a weird one to try and modulate temperature anyways. So, I mean, even in the dead of summer, I usually have a comforter on.
Yes.
So take that with a grain of salt.
But they seem to be better sheets.
They're much better sheets than what we had.
We may just lose those other sheets.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I mean, we can also use them for muslins.
Oh, we could do that.
Yes.
We could do that. And the other thing I did that hasn't come in yet is I bought a new suitcase.
Ooh.
So, I don't know if you all remember, but I had a suitcase that lost all of its wheels.
Yes.
And Rachel, one of our friends, has given me one of her suitcases, which is lovely. But it's not quite as big as I was looking for in order to see if I could pack my bicycle in it. So
it's good for trips where you are not going to be taking your bicycle.
Right. Absolutely. And so it's in a smaller size than what I have ordered. Toomey was having a sale, and then I got this one from Saks off 5th. So it was an even greater sale because it was a discontinuance of a line.
Look at you.
And it is supposed to be 31 inches tall, but deeper, like 14 inches.
Is it a hard side?
No, it's a soft side. And so it's supposed to be deeper than the hard-sided one. The hard-sided one was slightly longer.
Okay.
But not as deep. And we know my bicycle folds up like this, and I thought deeper might be better.
Maybe.
So that has not arrived yet. We haven't seen it, but it has 4 wheels, not 2. So it's not leaning. It's just one of the things you move along like that.
I mean, you have to be careful when you pack it, because I find mine...
You can overload it.
Well, mine, I tend to end up forgetting that it has 4 wheels, so it still ends up a little tilty over, because I don't fully even out the weight.
And since I'm thinking about using it to help pack my bicycle, it's likely that it will be overweight, but it means that I'll be packing clothes around the bicycle. So it's shipping the bicycle with me on a vacation where we're going to be away. Once COVID is over, once we get a vaccine and we perhaps go to the islands for, 3-4 months at a time, that I would then...
When they finally get to enact their original retirement plan,
exactly,
pre-COVID-19.
Yes.
And once we...
I'll be able to bring my bicycle in my luggage, so I know it'll be traveling with me,
yes.
and I think it'll work out. So, they're all... I have to take the seat off. I think I have to take the wheels off in order to make it fit. It will not be as big as it is in the over-the-shoulder carrying case that I have to take on the boat now. Yes, this COVID has put quite the spanner or wrench in our retirement plans. Although I have to say, it did influence my husband to fully retire rather than think about trying to go back to dentistry now, since his office, the office he was working in, is reopened, and I'm glad about that. So we continue to work on our boat. Our boat has not yet gone in the water, so he had a list of 10 things yesterday. I think we went through 3.5 of them. So we will...
He thinks he'll be able to get them done tomorrow.
Okay, good. So I'll be there handing him things. A friend of ours called while we were on the boat yesterday and says, "You got up the ladder?" I said, "Well, is the ladder safe?" I said, "Well, excuse me, it had better be because he needs a helper. And I'm the only person around." So we are working on reattaching the second water tank It had sprung a leak before. One of the attachments had sprung a leak. We found that the water tank itself seemed to be dry as far as we could tell from our testing. We took it out of the boat. We sudsed it all up.
I remember.
Hyperinflated it with his high pressure air. We could not find a hole in the tank, but we think that there was a hole in some of the tubing that was either from the fill or from the vent. So we have new tubing, and he has attached the inflow, the filler tubing, and then what's left is to attach the vent tubing. I would think you'd only have to have a little space like this for vent tubing, but I said maybe if you're overfilling the tank, then you've got water coming out. So I guess the vent goes overboard so that you can overfill the tank, and whatever over is going overboard, and you're not filling the boat with water. Wouldn't that be a picture?
Oh, it
anyway,
would be.
So we've got that to do, and just a few other things. You're really waiting to get the boat in the water, because once the boat goes in the water, then we can fill the water tanks, and they'll stay cooler. Rich doesn't want to put water in the water tanks until he knows we are about to go in the water, because that boat gets really hot on the inside, and we would be breeding all kinds of crud in the water. Yes. So we will be waiting to do that till the boat gets in the water. Then it's like a 2.5 hour trip around to Port Washington, and then we would be able to go out, for day trips, and maybe back over to Cold Spring Harbor to spend the weekend, and then back again. It'll be nice. It'll be very nice. So
I'm excited for our kayaking and paddleboarding adventures to continue.
Exactly. So that is very exciting. And I, at this moment, can't think of anything else.
I can't either. It's been a slightly quieter week.
But we have gotten a lot done. I mean, I did get that sleeve done.
Yeah. I did want to mention, we mentioned some funds to donate to last week. The Momentum Fund by Neighborhood Fiber Co. is still ongoing. She has officially been registered with the Baltimore, with a place in Baltimore. I can't remember the full details right now. As a fund to be created and for charitable works. And so that is still going on. It's a very good cause, and Karita is nothing if not thorough with her information that she puts out there, as well as her drive to help her community.
We had a few comments of other people who had gone to see online the Washington National Cathedral church services and agreed with us that the singing and the music is fantastic. We're doing double church here on Sundays. So we sing in the choir at our own local church, which is not holding any kind of services at the moment. And
in person. We're holding
them online.
Zoom church.
And then, but the choir gets the music in advance with the orchestral parts pre-recorded by the choir director, and then we record our voice track. And it's only our voice track that is recorded, because we hear the orchestral parts in our ears. And then that gets mixed by our choir director, and then they play it on Sundays.
Yes.
So that's been working out pretty well.
And typically this Sunday would have been our last Sunday with the choir in our normal year. However, our choir director has decided to continue sending out the music, and whomever would like to continue to participate is welcome to do so. So that's really great, and I think that's
the reason that we have a stopping point is that it gives the choir a bit of a break, because if you sing in the choir, then you should be there for choir rehearsal, then you need to be there on Sunday, so you physically are there at least twice a week. And by giving the choir a break over the summer, it allows for summer vacations. But this summer, since we're doing it online, we could record from almost anywhere. And I have found that using there's a piano app on my iPad that is working very well in terms of giving me a pretty realistic sound from a piano keyboard. So that's helping me find the beginning note. So that's been working out pretty well. So anyway, since we can do it from anywhere, that's helpful. And, it's just something else, what our church is trying to do in order to keep us as a congregation together. Our minister is also starting a book club.
Yeah.
And I have bought my Kindle copy, and I have read the first 2 chapters. So I'm ready for my meeting on Thursday. So if your church hasn't started doing something like that, maybe that's something that you could start or suggest. Since people are looking for a way to reach out and be a part of a big community, a little community.
And as we discussed the last few weeks, Black Lives Matter. So the book that Mom is referring to is a book focused on the faithful Christian way of beginning your anti-racist education.
Journey.
I guess journey is the best way to put it. We'll put because I think we put the title down below last week. I'll put it there this week.
I can't remember.
We'll put it down below. I just can't remember the title right now.
Anxious is one of the words.
Yeah, it's again.
It's written by a minister.
Yes. So again, it might be an option. There are obviously a lot of resources out there for different people. Yes, we've listed. And so keep informed. Stay safe. There's still a pandemic out there, y'all. Wear your masks.
Yes.
We are seeing an uptick in cases due to probably the laxity of
social gathering. And people getting excited about being out. I know that New York New York City went to phase 1. Long Island and several others went to phase 2, and then upstate went to phase 3. New York City went nuts on Friday. There were a number of large groups outside of bars just gathering, and they weren't gangs or anything. There were people going just to get out of the house, get out of the apartment, go have a drink at the local bar, but they weren't getting the drink and leaving. They were mingling, and people are very afraid, very concerned that there will be an uptick in the COVID cases. And if there is, our governor has sworn that he will shut them down again. So everybody's kind of holding their breath. Nassau and Suffolk County have done well with phase 1. Phase 2 means that we can go to restaurants and sit outside. I'm not sure. I'm willing to give it another week or 2 before I say, oh, let's go do this. Mm-hmm. We mentioned that I tend to catch lung problems pretty easily. And so I'm not really sure about this.
And as I said, I went up to Poughkeepsie to see my best friend from high school. Anytime we left, we saw each other, we met each other with masks on. When we were in her apartment, we stayed distanced from each other because we took the masks off. And I didn't spend the night. Well, also because we were moving things, and she has a cat, and I am highly allergic to said cat. I love said cat, but I am highly allergic to said cat. So even as I was getting ready to come home, I could feel my allergy meds wearing off, which is probably why I'm feeling a little under today.
Possible.
I
forgot to take my allergy pill last night.
Oh, God. And then we did hug at the end, but we both had masks on, and that was only because I couldn't leave after spending the whole day with her on her birthday without doing that. And it was not our finest choice, but also be careful. But I had also spent the entire day with her, and she had told me what she had done the week before. It's my fault. Or it's my father's fault.
Because he went sailing today with George.
And then they didn't. He said they social distanced and socialized afterwards, but I don't believe him.
We're not sure.
I don't believe him.
I'm sleeping in a different bedroom tonight.
But yeah, so we've been all very careful.
I believe George, but so if George told me, I believe George, but
I don't believe the other people he mentioned.
And who was pouring? And how did they manage to socially distance while they were pouring? I have
We're not
no
going
idea.
there. But yeah, so I know it's hard. Believe me, it's extremely hard. But take care. Be safe.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.